Chris might have a voice for karaoke.
What does the fox say?
Hello, my friends.
Thank you for joining us for the PEBCAK Podcast, a weekly information security show featuring some all-around good people. It is week 39 of 2022. Happy autumn. The leaves are changing color and pumpkin spice is in the air. With me, I have my co-host, the Cloud God, who does not live near any trees and is unfamiliar with this leaf color change phenomenon. Congratulations.
And you're right, there are no trees here. The little trees that we do have in our yard are actually evergreen, so they don't drop anything. Nor do they change color.
And we have Glenn Medina, who is temporarily home, so his audio should be loud and clear this week.
Hey everybody. Yes, home for a couple hours and then take care of some stuff on the home front and then heading back out to Denver. So happy to be here.
Watch out for those. When you go to the Denver airport, look for all those things that we talked about on that conspiracy episode that we did. Like the creepy horse and the gargoyles in the baggage claim area.
Oh yeah.
I
never make it to the baggage. I never make it to the baggage claim area because I never check luggage.
You have to walk
make an effort
past it
this
just to
time.
get to the ride share, don't you?
I guess. I don't know. I'm like out. I never want to hang around the airport.
And just like that, thousands of listeners just fast forwarded 30 seconds because no one cares.
So true.
No guests this week. We do have some international guests lined up, so we're going to have to work on scheduling them in to align our time zones.
Fun.
Combine, we have decades of information security experience and are here not just to educate, but to entertain. We've got 4 awesome stories for you this week, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. In closing the loop this week, I don't have anything. How about you guys?
I've got nothing. So there's that.
I don't remember anything anyway from what I had for lunch today, so I don't have anything to close.
All right, for our opening topic, both of you have been talking about cars in our group chat quite a bit. Glenn, you're in the market for a new one. And Brian, you just got Tesla's full self-driving autopilot for city streets. Glenn, why don't you go first? What are your observations right now for the new and used car markets?
It is ridiculously overpriced. The fact that dealers are charging $20,000 above MSRP is it's crazy. I don't understand why, but it's definitely making me think that I don't want to buy a car right now. Even on the used market, it's just out of control. I don't know about you guys, but who would buy a car that's 20 grand over the asking price?
It's the chip shortage.
It is, but still, like I tried to order the Raptor R, they wanted 50 grand over. There's no way in hell. There's no way.
Yeah. So you ended up going with a used car. Was that used car above Blue Book value?
So Kelly Blue Book has adjusted for the market, right? So I would say that it was fairly priced. I would say that the one thing that surprised me was their ability to actually negotiate on the used cars. So I went in, there was a delta between my trade plus that. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, great. I'm going to the next dealership. And he said, well, what's it going to take for you to make this happen? I said, you need to come down like $7,500. You can do that. You make a little. I feel like I didn't get completely, and have a good time. And about 20 minutes later, we came to an agreement. So it all ended up working out pretty nice.
So did they give you more also for your trade, knowing that was it adjusted for market as well?
So you had to look at this from this perspective, right? The trade in the new car, it doesn't really matter where they give you the money, whether it's on the trade or discounting it. I will say that they ended up dropping the price of the used car, and they offered me 75 grand, I believe, for my trade, and they have it listed on their website right now for 72. So I think they're just kind of fudging the numbers to make it make it work. So I think they discounted the trade-in or the vehicle I was buying. Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah, I think and that's also part of the salesperson. Their commission is affected by the net sale of the vehicle, and I don't think they get dinged for the trade-in, so that's how they have a little bit more adjustment that they could do when you have a trade-in like that, and won't affect their commission as much.
Yeah, exactly. So I was happy to get it done, so now I got to deal with a new vehicle. I would have to say probably my favorite thing off this new truck is that it has exhaust braking. So it's kind of like regenerative braking, but it's not at all. But it literally just cuts off the exhaust and uses engine compression to slow down the vehicle. It's kind of neat, especially if you're towing.
Sounds weird though, right? When that kicks in.
Yeah. Well, it's not only sound weird, it sounds cool. I feel like a man.
The growling
What do
noise.
I got to do to get you in this truck? It's funny that's making a comeback because when somebody in our circle that you guys know went to go buy a new SUV, and that person's experience was the exact same thing. They called around to multiple dealerships. Everyone was over asking, and finally called one that said, I'll give it to you at MSRP. And that was a deal. So apparently getting a new vehicle at MSRP is a deal nowadays.
Yeah. I tell everyone when I go in to buy a car, you got 10 minutes to come back to the price I want. Don't be hanging out in the manager's office, diddling over there and just talking about nothing. I said, I will walk out of this place if you make me wait more than 10 minutes. So
Glenn is a
time them with
shrewd
a stopwatch.
I do. I look at my watch and I tell them it's 6:30. You've got till 6:40. And don't come out here, and tell me that you need more time, or I'm like, that's plenty of time right there. So,
if this was a series like an episode of The Office, you were 100% Dwight Schrute at this point in time.
Sorry.
No, that's
just
okay.
need a beet farm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was a lot better back then because you could, I was using USAA to go buy cars. And that you would go in, I think it was TrueCar at that time, and you could get the value of the car already pre-negotiated. So all you did was walk in with a ticket, and they sold you the car exactly for that price, and it was no fuss, no muss. Sign the papers, and you're out of there in within an hour. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's how car buying should be.
So
Agree.
I would even one up you on that. So back in the day, I had the ability. I would negotiate at a very minimum the cost of the vehicle at invoice, plus get the dealer holdback, plus the doc fee, get all that stuff kind of like discounted. Like they're like, we can't waive the doc fee. I'm like, well, you can just discount the vehicle because I'm not paying your $14 an hour intern to file the paperwork for $550. But I was always cooperative. I would say, well, what I can do, since you're going to give it to me at this price, is I'll buy the vehicle and I will finance any portion of this that you want, and I will take whatever rate you give me. So at the end of the day, there is a buy rate and a sell rate that comes from the bank. So let's say that you qualify for 3%, the dealership can sell it to you for 5%. And if you do, they make 2 points on the deal on whatever the cost of the vehicle is. And so then you just have to come to like a gentleman's agreement. Like, listen, I'll finance it and I'll hold the loan for 4 months or however long you need to get paid, and then I'm going to pay it off and go about my day. And usually, if you have that level of conversation, it works, but not right now in this market.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's what we did for my wife's car. We did exactly that. We financed it for 4 months. They got paid. We paid it off. Paid a little bit in interest, but the amount we saved financing it was more than what minuscule interest accrued in 4 months.
All right, another lesson learned right there, guys. There you go.
That'll be an appendix in our SE book that we're definitely writing right now.
A little delayed.
All right, for our first topic, we have to address the elephant in the room of Rockstar Games, the maker of the Grand Theft Auto franchise of games. They were hacked by allegedly the same hacker using the same tactics as that ride-hailing app company. The attack started with social engineering a user credential from one of their employees, using MFA bombing to get past the second factor authentication, then moving laterally throughout the network and exfiltrating data along the way. The hacker allegedly stole over 90 videos from the unreleased Grand Theft Auto 6 video game, which is not set to be released for another 2 more years. he also stole the source code and posted on their internal Slack. The hacker released those 90 videos, but they are actively being taken down with DMCA copyright strikes. The source code is still safe for now because the hacker is allegedly negotiating with Rockstar to extort them, so he won't release the source code. If this sounds familiar, it's because it's the exact same thing that happened to that ride-hailing app company last week. And we actually have some late-breaking news just this morning on InfoSec Twitter that there may be a link between these two hacks and the formerly defunct Lapsus group, a speculation we have had all along since the beginning.
So it's not an 18-year-old, or maybe it is an 18-year-old that's working for the Lapsus group.
Well, the Lapsus group is made up of a bunch of teenagers, so that lines up.
Okay, gotcha.
So let me ask you, with this MFA bombing, do you think Homeboy is 2 for 2? Or is he batting like 2 for 1,000? Like, just spray and pray at this point?
I think 2 for 2. I think MFA bombing seems to be highly effective.
Really? So you think these are the first two companies he's like, you know what? You know, that rideshare app, and then I'm going to go after Rockstar. F it. That's the only two I'm going to go after?
That's my belief. If it's not 2, it's not 100. It's not 2 out of 100. It's definitely 2 out of single digits, at 9 the most.
And it's
but these are the
oh, go ahead, Glenn.
These are the more publicly known ones, right? We don't know what others they've done. I guess it would have came out if they had hit some other smaller companies.
Well, Lapsus is also known for only hitting really big companies like Microsoft and Okta and Ubisoft. They're known for go for the big fish.
I guess when will people learn? When the training, all the the company, it was like you could stand up the biggest defenses in the world, but nothing's going to help you if you have people giving up their credentials due to MFA bombing.
Is this the same MFA provider that was used in both attacks?
It's unclear of which MFA provider was for Rockstar. For that ride-hailing app company, it was definitely that vendor that keeps coming up. Their name keeps coming up. I don't know if Rockstar used the same one or not.
But does it matter, Brian? It's still, I mean, MFA bomb is MFA bomb unless unless one is better than the other in handling that type of detection, right?
Yeah, I guess I'm just wondering why, right? Like, I mean, is that an indicator one of them is easier to beat up on? I have no idea, because I'm trying to figure out, is there a way an MFA provider could prevent the MFA bombing from occurring?
So there was actually a pretty good article about this. So after that ride-hailing app got hacked, there's an article, I think it was on Bleeping Computer. If I can find it, I'll link through to it. And they have the responses from all of the identity providers. So Okta, Microsoft, that one that keeps coming up. And they all put their responses in that says something like, after 10 notifications or after 10 push notifications, we automatically lock the account. Like, that would hopefully prevent something like this. If there's less than, if they only have 10 tries, they might not be able to, quote, bomb them quite as much. Microsoft has a pretty interesting approach where when you request the MFA code, there's a 2-digit number on the screen, and on your phone app, it says enter this 2-digit number to get the notification. So it prevents the push bombing of it, and you actually have to be physically in front of that machine, or your user has to be trained to say, if somebody calls and gives you this number to plug in your app, it's a fish, don't do it.
Google's been doing that too. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Brian.
Google's been doing that as well. So if I go like on a net new device, I go to sign in with my personal email, it will tell me to, hey, use your phone, open up the YouTube app, and then press this 2-digit number that appears on there. And it gives you, I believe, 3 to choose from. So I'm not even really prompted on my phone to do anything. I'm not getting MFA bombed, but I have to manually kind of walk through that process, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, the only thing that I can think of is if, let's say, someone's MFA bombing you, and then you get a lockout, you call in, you have them reset, and then within the next set of MFA bombs, you're trying to figure out which one to approve to go back and get into your own system. So I could see how that could be worked in a way that's to get around that, right?
Yeah. At the end of the day, VPN sucks. We shouldn't be doing VPN. I think that if you have more of a modern solution approach to that, not having the user in the network and able to scan and look for craziness, it would help definitely eliminate that attack surface.
If there was only a technology that could do that, Brian.
You condescending really son amazing. Of a gun. I'm going to send Chris over there to milk you. You'll have to take a screenshot of this, Chris, so everyone will understand the reference.
Yeah, like for our thousands of listeners out there that don't get that reference, yeah, you'll have to. I don't know. I'll post it on our Instagram at PEBCAK Podcast, and you can figure out why Brian made that comment. But I mean, the other narrative to this is we've been preaching: do the fundamentals, enable MFA, and amongst other things, install EDR and all that stuff. And it just goes to show that just doing the fundamentals is not enough now. You have to have things like app segmentation, proper network segmentation, assume breach, assume your user is going to get compromised. How do you limit the blast radius? That's really the big mindset shift, I think.
Well, how about even taking it a step before that, even at the root level, which is this happened, this problem existed between chair and keyboard, right? This was a user that approved this. So where is the fundamental training that should have taken place? We all talk about it. We all know about it, but do we practice it? And do we get reminded that we shouldn't be approving MFAs that are not, that didn't originate from you, or validating that?
Yeah, that might be part of the problem, because push MFA, that's a convenience feature that I log into Okta, I log into Azure AD, I get a convenient prompt on my phone or my smartwatch, and I just hit approve. That's a convenience feature. If we change it in such a way like Google Authenticator, I have to manually open up the app, get the 6-digit code, and enter it in. That is less convenient, but I would argue more secure, because instead of accidentally hitting the approve button or hitting the approve button so I stop getting these push notifications, it requires an action on my part to actively go and unlock my phone, open the app, and type in the code.
Have you guys looked at Okta FastPass yet?
I have.
And Glenn's puzzled look will tell me that you guys probably haven't. So am I under the assumption that if you're coming from like a sanctioned device for the company and you have the FastPass thing on there, that you should probably never get prompted for MFA? Is that what's going on with that?
I believe it prompts you for your I think it prompts you for your computer password. Yeah, a biometric or computer password. So it still prompts you, but it's not a third-party app. You don't have to look anything up. You just do what you normally do, which is touch your fingerprint or type in your system password.
Doesn't there also another piece of that where the connection has to come from a known network, or you're sitting there based off of the network type or network access?
Yeah, you could definitely set it up that way, but now with work from anywhere, that's becoming less of a...
Glenn, you shut the hell up about network access. We don't do that here. Zero trust, man. Gross. If anything, we do deception. We do clever things.
Now, Brian.
One day you'll get there.
All right, before this gets out of hand, let's move on to our second topic. There was a debate on InfoSec Twitter a while back asking if the plugin Grammarly, is it a keylogger? By definition, Grammarly sends all your keystrokes in order to know what you wrote and give grammar and spelling suggestions. So Grammarly actually has a FAQ on their webpage that says, no, Grammarly is not a keylogger. We don't log every single keystroke like a keylogger does.
That's what a keylogger would say.
They also say Grammarly is blocked from accessing fields marked as sensitive, but at the end of the day, they have to get the data because they have to analyze it. And this also extends into other areas, there's an article written fairly recently about this, for the extended spell check features in Google Chrome and Microsoft Edge web browsers, because they transmit this information, and this information could have personally identifiable information like PII, sometimes even passwords to Google and Microsoft. It's a known feature that this is the intended use of spell check. By definition, the data has to go to the cloud, but it just raises concerns about what happens to that data after it gets there. How safe can that be? If I submit this PII up there, or if there's a password, like when you click the show password button on a field, because you want to see the password and you want to make sure you typed it right, that field becomes live and that data is actually uploaded to Google and to Microsoft in their quote enhanced spell check. Data is transmitted over HTTPS, so it is secure. So any person in the middle would not be able to passively eavesdrop on this. But again, it's not always clear what happens to this data. What's the data handling once it gets to this third-party service?
If Grammarly is funded by China, we're all screwed, guys.
I could just imagine a bunch of interns like reading stuff in Grammarly going, man, this is some really juicy stuff that's going on over here with this one guy or gal.
I think they raised like a great question here. Like I use Grammarly all the time, at least in the last 6 months, but now I'm like of the mindset that maybe I should just kill it and not use it, or only use it when maybe I'm editing like a Google Doc or something like that, or authoring email. I wonder if I can narrow the scope down to don't talk to Zoom or Slack and things like that. Stuff that I need to keep kind of private for our business at the end of the day.
I think Grammarly requires a lot of plugins. So they have the browser plugin, they have plugins for Microsoft Office. So I think you just opt out for those. And then for the browser, I don't know if you can block certain domains on the browser or not.
You can actually block apps within Grammarly. Look at that.
So Google actually, in response to this article, they shared a statement that said, the text typed by the user may be sensitive personal information, and Google does not attach it to any user identity and only processes it in a way on the server temporarily. To further ensure user privacy, we will be working to exclude passwords proactively from spell check. So Google is aware of it. I think it's a problem that they solve, that they just scan the data, check it for spelling and grammar, and then send it back, but they have no way of tying it to any individual user.
Yeah, but what if someone accidentally types into a field that's unprotected, right, and happens to be the password? Because I've looked at logs many a times and looking at user IDs and the encrypted password, and they fail to hit tab, and you can see the password right after the user ID log. You guys have seen that, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Well, that my grandma, right? She would. Yeah. If my grandma were alive today, I 100% would have a notes app with every password that she's ever had, just in there as clear text. I guarantee it. And who's got more money than grandmas? Think about that, guys. Untapped market.
The most vulnerable.
Yeah.
We're giving the bad guys ideas. Let's fast forward here.
Well, hold on. There's actually a browser out there that can block extensions from running as well on critical websites. I think that company is called Island. It's pretty cool.
Like an enterprise level browser.
That's right.
Wow. Could the viewing public get a hold of that, or is that just for the paying companies of the world?
Unfortunately, or fortunately, or however you want to look at it, it's enterprise grade, so it is built for corporations. But if you do want something, I think Brave is the other one that you could use, or just not install extensions for consumer side. So
I'm gonna give you a little plug, man. Not that you need it because you already just plugged yourself, but Glenn came over and he actually showed me a demo of it. It's pretty sexy, and I have no vested interest in Island's future other than I just want to see Glenn retire one day. So if you're contemplating that, you should probably dig into it. And I think that product itself has some capabilities that I don't think you guys even realize could be so useful.
Agree. It's still early to market, and we're still trying to get there. So, but yeah, this is a fun time to be at Island,
especially from a kind of user experience, and not necessarily the user experience of like what sucks on the network, but how are your users interacting with said web application. I think would provide a metric ton of visibility. And I think it was Tea Leaf back in the day had a product that did that. So it's reminiscent of it based off the logs that you had shown me.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. We will read the tea leaves then. All right, for our third topic, this is our cryptocurrency story of the week. A report published today by Group IB notes that the amount of fake cryptocurrency giveaways have increased 5 times compared to the same period last year. And this is thanks to improved deepfakes and the lowering cost of using AI to produce them. So I heard a quote on the Darknet Diaries podcast, and I think it really rings true here. So there's a guy interviewing Warren Buffett, and for those of you who may not be in the know, Warren Buffett is among the richest people in the world. He's always in the top 5. I think he might have been the richest at one point.
Yeah, I never heard of him. Wow.
But someone asked him, what's your secret? What's your secret about getting rich? And he actually said, it's simple. Invest in good companies and be in it for the long run. And the interviewer asked him, well, why doesn't everybody just do that then and get rich? And Warren Buffett responded with, because everybody today wants to get rich quick. And I think that's definitely the case, that whenever people see some kind of scam that's too good to be true, they take away all, remove disbelief and just try to get rich quick, and they invest too quick into it, and then it ends up becoming a giant scam. And one of these popular cryptocurrency scams is the double your money scams. So I think it was maybe 2 years ago, somebody hacked into the Twitter accounts of very prominent people like Bill Gates and Elon Musk and Joe Biden, and posted on their official Twitter accounts that said, we're doing Cryptocurrency Awareness Month. To celebrate it, send your Bitcoin to this address and I'll send you double back. That's how the typical scam works, and people actually fall for it. And the lure is going to be different in every case. But the one most recently that I read about was, are you guys familiar with the Ethereum merge that happened about a week ago?
No.
So Ethereum in particular is one of the cryptocurrencies that used to be very dirty, and dirty in the sense that it requires lots of energy to run the network. You're running these really powerful GPUs, and it was a proof of work system. So you had to do work to earn your money. They changed it to a proof of stake system, which is a lot greener. It's supposed to reduce the energy impact by 99.95%. And it was a big deal in the crypto markets. That says we're merging these two branches. And somebody went on Twitter that says, in celebration of the Ethereum merge, we're doubling your money. So send your Ethereum to this address and I'll send you double back. And whoever runs that address got almost $500,000 worth of Ethereum. And it's just a giant scam. But, people fall for it because they want to get rich quick.
Oh my gosh, that's insane. So is there any liability there? Like, people have no recourse other than I'm just stupid, right? I need to be on Twitter.
Pretty much, yeah. That's it. It's unfortunately, of how cryptocurrency works, peer-to-peer decentralized system, is there's, I wouldn't say no recourse. There's not much recourse, because I say that because, like we talked about last week, that the FBI was able to freeze $30 million worth of stolen cryptocurrency. You have to get really lucky. And you also have to have people be in a potentially extradition-friendly country if you want to catch them. But if they're good and they launder it correctly, like, that money's gone.
I'm just going to do it from my regular account on there. At Brian Deach. Give me your crypto. I'll double it. You know what? Screw that. I will triple it. And on that note, if it sounds too good to be true, and on that note, if it sounds too good to be true, you know what they say, Epstein didn't kill himself. Just kidding. It probably is too good to be true. Outside of my little circle of friends that are in the tech field, I don't know anybody that does anything in crypto, period. And I wonder, I kind of associate anything with, crypto and blockchain as being, people that are a little bit smarter, or at least tech savvy. I can't believe someone's that dumb to be like, oh man, I'm going to roll the bones here and double my money. How about you guys? Do you know any teachers or doctors or firefighters that are all in on crypto?
I have a friend of a friend. I think last year, what I had heard was he had sold everything he had, retirement, pension, everything, went all in crypto at like 55 or 56K, And, as I look at today, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'd strangle myself. But, single guy, he's able to recover. But yeah, I don't think that's a good thing. I would never, it's always talking about diversify, right? So, and if it sounds too good to be true, definitely, it is another one. But along the same lines, like, my daughter's roommate last year was talking, her roommate was talking about where she said that her brother was opening his own cryptocurrency and he was going to be rich. I'm like, I don't think it works that way. Correct me if I'm wrong, right?
Yeah, there's somebody in our circle that are not super tech savvy, but they did ask for my opinion on crypto and investing in Bitcoin. And I gave them my honest opinion. And I said, I wouldn't invest any more than I'm willing to lose, but I think it's a good diversification strategy. And they did. They bought some crypto. It's been down a little bit from there, but I think if your investing horizon is a lot longer, my personal belief, and I'm not a financial advisor, this is not financial advice, but I think it's going to be it's going to be higher in 10 years than it is today. That's just my opinion on it. And some people can invest using that, but I think where people get in trouble is where, like Glenn said, they get in over their heads. Like I was reading these stories about Celsius. We talked about that last week as well, that some unfortunate guy took out a home equity line of credit. So he borrowed money against the value of his home, 100,000 worth, put it all in Celsius thinking he'd earn 20 grand a year without lifting a finger. And then, guess what? Celsius goes bust and now he's 100K in the hole that he owes the bank. So I would never do anything like that. But again, some people just say 20%, sign me up. And then they end up going in debt over it.
You're really good at the whole political answer on the podcast, because offline, your response is all, it's on sale, buy it up. So I don't know who to trust anymore.
Well, since this is recorded and since this is published for all the public to see, we always got to put those disclaimers in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you don't understand it, don't buy it.
I got something. You want some investment advice from me? Whatever I buy the opposite, and you're guaranteed to make money. So,
oh, we have the same
one
plan.
of us is.
Yeah.
All right, for our last topic, and it will be a rotating topic every week. This was supposed to be our topic last week that I know Brian was super excited to talk about, but we did the story that eventually got pulled. This week, we're going to talk about the release of iOS 16. This is Apple's newest operating system for the iPhone. I do not believe it's available for the iPad yet. My personal favorite feature of iOS 16 is the iMessage Mark as Unread feature. After 16 iterations of the operating system, we finally got the Mark as Unread feature for iMessage and text message. Brian, you have been using lockdown mode for nearly 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
There's a specific feature I use with lockdown mode, which it would be disabled, and I won't say which feature, but I need that feature, so I can't enable lockdown mode just yet. So, Duke, what's the good, the bad, and the ugly of lockdown mode?
Excuse me, it is Cloud God today, not Duke. So, overall, I think I love it to death. I don't think that there's really anything that there's a significant gap where I wish it worked. One of the cool things that I had discovered is that if you try to FaceTime me, and we've never FaceTimed before, it just straight up doesn't work. So I feel like Apple's trying to take the whole like zero trust messaging in within their own apps, which I think is kind of interesting. Which also raises the question or the flag of, was there a vulnerability associated with FaceTime? I remember that at one point in time you could FaceTime somebody and their video would click on before they answered. So I have to assume that's with that. I definitely like the fact that it hides my status. Like, if I'm on Do Not Disturb or whatnot, it just tells people, like, it just says we're actively blocking that. So I'm digging it. I did notice that I'm unable to share, like, photo folder. I don't know. Just long story short, what is it even called, Chris? It's the like sharing.
That iCloud photos,
yeah.
Photos, yeah.
I noticed that one kind of right away. When messages come in, anything that's like HTTP based, it's this plain text, so you can't click on it and go about it, which is kind of nice. It's one more step, right? It's got to copy it and then paste it, but whatever. Same thing with OTP. So if I was in my banking app and it sent an OTP over, normally the banking app would notice that a message came in and it's like, do you want to type this in automatically for you? It would just like, hit the PIN or the OTP. Doesn't do that anymore. It's a little bit of an inconvenience, but
that's a great feature though.
Yeah, that's a super
feature.
convenient feature. That's one of my favorite features of, I think it was iOS 14 when they added that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm willing to relinquish that. And then right before iOS 16 came out, I had noticed that anytime I had anything in my clipboard and I opened up Instagram, Instagram was actively dumping or copying the clipboard and into their app. So I was like, that was kind of interesting. And with all of that said, and maybe even with the banking app, there is a way to do like a bypass mode for certain apps. So you can say, hey, certain things just aren't under the scrutiny of lockdown. So I guess I could probably do that for my banking app. And then the last thing that I would say that I just kind of noticed just going through it, me and Chris are friends with our little Apple Watches, and so we do daily competitions. If he comments on a workout, it just comes through as kind of a blank file, and I can't render that at all. So again, it's that zero trust between even the iPhone and the Apple Watch. So my verdict, 10 out of 10, love it. If you're flying a little too close to the sun, maybe this is a way to protect yourself.
So just a question for you, like, so if two people have this protection turned on, right? How do you FaceTime each other if you have to come across trusted first?
That's a great question. I guess you can't.
It's a chicken and egg problem.
Yeah.
It does. But the other crazy part too is when it's like, hey, we blocked a incoming FaceTime to you, and it'll show the mobile number. But like when Chris tried to FaceTime me last week, I have him in my contact list, but it just still did not show his name. It just said this phone number was blocked from trying to access you.
I wonder if it would work in such a way that if I tried to initiate a call with you and that's enough, even though you couldn't pick up because you're in lockdown mode, and then if you were to call me back, if that would work, because I at least initiated a call with you, but you didn't pick up, but I at least started one. So that shows intent that I want to communicate with you. That might be the workaround there.
I'll have to try it out.
Yeah. Can you turn on bits and pieces of lockdown mode, or is it all or nothing?
I think you can put in exemptions only. So there's certain apps you can say don't do it.
Wow. So it's not like, hey, I want the OTP password pasted in. I just want that feature turned back on. It's not going to do that.
I think you can turn that back on, but I think any other type of integration between that banking app and your phone has probably been reopened back up. Not that I know that there's anything. I mean, Face ID still works, but it's the OTP, coming in. I have to leave the app to go find it.
Yeah.
Much more secure, but much less convenient.
Yeah. I typically watch the release. Did you guys watch the iOS 16 release?
The best feature on this entire damn thing is the three dots at the bottom that would show you like all your different home screens. It's the search bar now. It's so intuitive. I like it. So, and then the customized lock screen, you can load up to like 50 different photos, and then every time you unlock your phone or by hour, it will cycle through those photos. Kind of like that.
Oh, it's not that picture. Not that picture.
Yeah.
Gotta pick the 50 it cycles through.
Yeah, I did, but it was worth it. You get to go back in time and just notice that I'm just getting really old. And fat.
Yeah, I'm planning to upgrade my phone next week when I'm home. Just couldn't do it while traveling because the last thing I want to do is be out there without a phone or a phone that's been jacked up. So, and having to re-sign into everything.
Has your phone been delivered yet?
It's always risky.
Oh, never mind.
No, I didn't buy it. Yeah, I'm a year or two behind on iPhone, so I just bought the iPhone 13. So, and I think it's great. So.
That was always risky. I remember upgrading right before a business trip. Said, probably should wait until I get back, because if this thing bricks while I'm traveling, I'm hosed.
And then your itchy finger did it, and you did it anyway, and then you hosed yourself.
Thankfully, knock on wood, I've never had a bricked update. I've never had to put the phone in recovery mode. Every update has been successful. So kudos to Apple for doing that. I can't say the same for Windows upgrades.
Oh, yeah. Heaven forbid.
By the way, to put it into lockdown mode, it actually requires the device to get rebooted.
Yeah, which is good because you turn off the features and then it reboots. And probably that in itself is a security feature because if there's malware on the device, it typically doesn't persist through a reboot.
Agreed.
You boot it up with that hardware anchored chain of trust.
Right now, the NSO group is frantically figuring out how to get around.
I bet they are.
It's always a game of cat and mouse, right?
Well, yeah, I think we talked about that story with Apple putting out a bug bounty for lockdown. I can't remember how much. Was it $2 million? It was some insane amount that said if you can breach lockdown mode, Apple will pay you $2 million.
Well, what are we doing, guys? Come on, let's go to work.
Get right on that.
Yeah.
I'm tired. I just want to go eat some food. You guys figure it out. I'll take full credit, though.
We'll put you on the final report. Brian's job was to make sure we always had fresh snacks and pizza.
I'm here for the punch and cookies, baby.
All right. Well, we continue to get great comments about our dad joke of the week.
Dad joke of the week.
This week, I'm up.
Don't let us down. We're expecting big things from you today, Chris.
All right. What do you call a belt made out of $20 bills? A waste of money.
Ah, damn it. I was going to get that too.
Wah, wah, wah.
I'd buy that, though.
Nice one, Chris. Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd buy the belt or you buy the...
Yeah, I spend $60 on a $20 belt. That's a really long $20 bill, by the way.
By the way, for me, it'd be a lot of $20 bills because I'm pretty fat. I'm pretty big.
It's more of you to love.
That's
No fat shaming
Exactly.
yourself on this call, damn it.
All right. To wrap things up, the new and used car market is just absolutely insane right now. Just doing the basics of security aren't enough anymore. Spell check may be stealing your passwords. Crypto scams are alive and well, so buyer beware. And lockdown mode works well, but not for everyone. That's all I have for this week. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. You can find us all on LinkedIn. Links will be in the description. Follow us on Instagram at PEBCAK Podcast. Thank you to all our listeners and subscribers who rate us 5 stars in the iTunes Store and Spotify and left us a review. We appreciate you all spreading the word to help grow the show. The best way to find us is to search for the PEBCAK Podcast on your favorite podcast listening app. For my co-hosts Brian Deitch and Glenn Medina, I'm Chris Louie. Thanks for listening. We'll see you all next week, and as always, have a nice day.
Later, everybody.
Bye,
Thanks for
Felicia.
joining us.